Hi there, it's David Young, the Resourceful Coach, and we're going to do another one of my sort of data lessons working on how to break 90. And what we're going to talk about today is what is a true par for that level of player. And what do I mean by that? Well, when you play around a golf, you have a par 3, a par 4 and a par 5. And what we're going to show you is the length of shots that you should be on average getting down into the hole in 3, 4 or 5 shots. Okay, so we're going to look at sort of 3 different scenarios. So we're here on the actual 7th hole, and amazingly, for somebody playing, we're going to look at my data for about a 14 handicap golfer. So this will get you definitely breaking 90. You're going to be shooting around that mid to high 80s. Okay, what should we be doing? What distance should we be from the hole that will guarantee we'll get down in 3 shots? This is what you need to work on, and you're going to be shocked. It's 60 yards. 60 yards is your distance. On average, this is what a 14 handicap golfer will get down in 3 shots from. So you look at it, there's no par 3 you probably play. We're saying as a 14 handicap, you should probably ever make a 3. You are going to, on average, be making more 4s than 3s as you're going round. But remember, you're a 14 handicap golfer. You're going to, on average, if you played the so-called perfect round, you'd have 14 bogeys and 4 pars. So we're going to look at, as I said, this par 3, we're looking at a shot from about 60 yards. And this is the most important thing. All of my videos are about you achieving the goal of getting those scores down. So find a shot that works for you. That's the important thing. When I get a lot of comments, people go, yeah, I love your video. And then I always get comments, well, I'd play it this way. And that's great. I have no problem with that. Okay, so we're going to show you 2 ways to play this shot. Okay, I've got nothing in my way. So the safest option really is an A-time. I can just pop the ball forward, let it run down the fairway and run onto the green. But what am I looking as a result? Ultimately, I want to be down in 3. What would be a par shot from here to around about 20 feet? So it's find your shot that works for you. So I'm going to first shot, I'm just going to play an A-time. And if I'm playing an A-time shot, it's not a full swing. So the first thing, if you've watched my chipping videos, you'll see what I'll do is always narrow that stance up to reduce the power. I'm not looking for as much power. You'll see in a minute when I go to my gap wedge, I'm going to change that idea of shot. The second thing I'm going to do is I want to grip down the club to feel a little bit more control on the shot. And now this is the important thing. The result is I want to get on that green 20 feet or better. That would be great. So ultimately, I'm always looking to play my best shot. I know this fairway kicks a little bit right to left, so I'm going to aim. You can see the flag there on the screen. I'm going to aim between the flag and the right edge of the green. And we're just looking to pop this ball probably 2/3 of the way to the green. Ground's reasonably firm at the moment. It will roll up. So let's see if we can do that. So that's nicely on its way. And you can see that's a very simple shot. And that ball, I would say, is pretty much bang on 20 feet from the hole. So really happy, about 8 paces away. Now you may not like that shot, and that's absolutely fine. So you may think, well, I want to go a little bit more height. And if you're better at that shot, play it. So all I'm going to do here, the only thing I'm really going to change in this idea is I'm just going to make the stance a little bit wider. Still not a full width like I'm playing a full shot, but a little bit wider just to give me a little bit more feeling of power. And the swing's going to be a little bit fuller. And now this one should land on the green. So you can see we're giving ourselves 2 options of shot. If I can get it that distance or better, perfect. Because I'm not using the ground so much, I can go a little bit more direct at the hole because it's going to go straighter when it lands on the green. And that one's now landing around the green there. And they're both ended up, you can see that one spun and stopped pretty quickly. And they're both about 20 feet from the hole. So there's our par 3. 60 yards, get it within 20 feet, 2-putt it. There you go. That's how you're going to make your par 3. If you want something to practice to guarantee, because this will be a shot we'll show you on the next hole, when we look at the length of hole for a par 4, we may have that as our second shot. And if we can get good at this, you're guaranteeing on those holes that you're giving yourself a really good opportunity that you are going to get down and make your 4 from a hole, which is, well, we'll wait until we get to the tee to tell you the length of that hole. But let's go play the par 4. So what is the length of a par 4? Okay, this is the key thing to look at. So around about 240 yards. We've come down to the 8th tee at Corinthians, and the hole is exactly 240 yards. So the importance to understand here is to think, okay, on average, I should be making a 4 if I'm around that 14 handicap. Now, I'm just going to apologise. If you get a bit of noise in the background, We're right by a road here, so we might just hear the cars going past, but it gives us the perfect hole to show you what we're looking to do. And what we need to learn is what we said was an average par 3, what we're going to get down in 3 shots, around about 60 yards, 50, 60 yards. So standing on this tee box, if you've got the capability to put it on the green, we're never going to stop you doing it. We're going to say to you, go for it, because if you've got that capability. The difficulty with this hole is a little bit of a dogleg, quite a few trees in our way. So the sensible play is to put it around that 50, 60 yards away. So I'm going to play up the left side of the hole, just going to play a little hybrid, which I know will probably knock me somewhere around that 180 to 200 yards and put me nicely into that bracket. So I'm starting to think, how can I make a 4 easily on this hole? But the number we're looking at, 240 yards, that's your distance for a par 4. Let's see if we can put it in that position where we said now it should take us 3 shots to get down. See if we can get that consistency. Struck it nicely down the fairway. Looks a decent line, all depends on the hard ground. It kicks quite a bit to the right on this hole. We'll go down, have a look. Looks half decent. Have we got it in that bracket? If we have, we're doing what we want to make a 4 on this hole, 240 yard hole. So tee shots put me in play. I've given myself a really good chance. Let's get a yardage. We wanted to be around about that 60 yards, 50, 60 yards, and flags at the back. And we've got 62 yards, okay? So now all I've got to do is what I did on the last hole. If I can put this within 20 feet, job done, okay? What we'll do on this hole, we'll play the whole hole out. We'll putt it out as well. It seems like on this hole, the simplest shot would be, because it's quite severely downhill, a little bit trickier shot here would to play the higher shot. So I'm just going to play an A-tine into the green. Let's grab an A-tine. Flag's cut a little bit tight. Rob's put that in what I call a little bit of a sucker flag position. Okay, let's grab my A-tine. So the sensible play here again, I want to be within 20 feet, is keep it to the left of the hole, play more middle of the green, flags at the back. But remember, we got the yardage, it's 60 yards. We played it nicely on the last. Same shot. Going to land it about 2/3 of the way to the green with an A-tine. That slightly narrower stance. Just pop it out there, let the ball do the rest. Yep, that's on a nice line. Now it's whether I got the speed right. Well, actually I've got this bang on, and we're probably half the distance we needed to be relative to the hole. So because, again, getting the confidence with that shot on the last hole, if you do start to play it well, you might get it inside that 20 feet. You're giving yourself a good chance. 10 feet now, it's a 20% chance. You might get out of here of taking 3 shots on this hole. But you can see how simple we've kept it. Not try to play anything drastically amazing. We've just thought, keep it simple, 180 roughly off the tee, put it on the green. On this occasion, the chips worked out really well, about half the distance we want. Let's see if we can hole it. And on this occasion, we might have made that par 4 into a par 3. And we all do it. You're a 14 handicap golfer. You can and you will make birdies. The goal is to get you thinking clearly so you take all the pressure off yourself. And every now and again, you'll give yourself those chances. Should be an easy par, which is what we're looking for, that par 4. But an outside chance now of making down in 3. So you can see, really happy with the result. We've got ourselves within about 10 feet, which is about half the distance we were looking for the par 4, okay? But we've just played it sensibly. We can get a 3, as I said, that's the whole idea of these lessons, is taking pressure off you, and it gives you that chance. But again, this is still only about a 20% chance that I'm going to hole this to end up walking off here with my 3 on this hole. But remember, the goal was to get down in 4. So nice smooth stroke, get the speed right. Not quite happened, but look, we're perfect. Look, it's a tap in 4. So that's how we play that hole. Keep it nice and simple. When you're 240 away, and you can use this idea if you're playing from the middle of the fairway, say on a par 5, 240 yards to go, put it down within 60 yards, get it on the green, 2-putt. If you're doing that, you're doing exactly what you should be doing to break that 90, which is what we're after. So last hole, what is the length of a par 5? On average, it will take you 5 shots to get the ball into the hole. You might be surprised again. So we've now come to our par 5, and the length of a par 5 for that player looking to just break 90, around about that 14 handicap, we're looking around about 390 yards. Okay, so that's important to understand. If you're playing a par 4, that length, stroke index likelihood, I mean, we're here, again, we're near a road, so I apologise if there's any sound. We're on the 9th hole. It's 369 yards, but it plays uphill, so that's why I've chosen this. So it plays closer to probably 390, 400, and it's stroke index 3. Okay, so that's really important to understand. So even this length of hole, and it's the fact you're going up the hill makes it play longer, you get to that distance, you should be bogeying the hole, in theory, relative to the par of the hole. So that's why mentally play this as a par 5. You've got 14 shots to play with. Okay, that means you are going to physically, around about 3/4 of your holes, you are going to bogey in that round. A bogey here is good. This is a hole at Corinthians that we see a lot of people wreck their scorecards trying to do something amazing because they think it's a short hole. They get into trouble and they walk off here with a double or a triple. So, previous video I've done is showed you how to play this hole, so dogleg left to right. But what do we want to do? Well, here's the mental picture I would give yourself. Look at what we've done on the par 3 and the par 4. We've left a 60-yard shot. So if you can look at it and think, after 2 shots, can I be 60 yards short of the green and back myself to get down in 3? There you go. You've just made your par 5. You've done what you need to do. Okay, so again, it's getting those expectations in line. So I'm looking for a shot here. Even if I can hit this 180, 200 up there, it's going to leave me around about, because it's going uphill, around that 200 mark again. Even if I'm at 240, remember what we said, that's your par 4. Should be able to gain a little bit here. Okay, so that's nicely down the middle. It wasn't a very good strike, if I'm honest. But because I've struck it well enough and I've got the ball moving up the hole and I'm on the fairway and the ground's firm, I'll be surprised if I'm not inside that 240, which remember is now my par 4 distance. Let's go and see what we've got. We'll play this hole out, see what happens. So we've made our way up to the tee shot. I said not the longest tee shot that we've hit. We said it was 369 from the tee. Okay, we wanted to be at worst 240, which remember we said it was uphill. It's probably playing close to 400. That would be the equivalent. I've probably hit this about 180 if I've left myself that. I've hit it a little bit further than that. It wasn't my best, but it's okay. And we've got to the back flag there. It's right at the back. Because it's playing uphill, it's just over 200 yards to get there. So we've sort of halved the hole. We're slightly ahead of the game if we think about what we said. So now I've got 2 options. And again, remember, I never tell you to lay up. There's nothing in my stats saying leave yourself a longer shot is going to be the answer. So if you've got the confidence from 200 yards to be able to pull out something like a hybrid or even a little 7-wood or a fairway wood and knock that up very close to the green, go for it, because you're increasing the chance you can do better than what we're calling this par 5. If you're not as confident with that and you think, actually, I'm just going to put it in that 60-yard area, that's an option. Take a club now that will move it maybe, because we're going uphill, around about 150 yards. That will put you into our little 50, 60-yard bracket. So it's how you start to play it. Go with the confidence of your skill level and knowing what you can do to get the desired result that you want. Okay? So I feel I can play that a little bit better. So I'm going to play, well, let's play 2 balls. Let's play 1 with each. Let's see what we get. So if I get this right, I should be getting close to the front edge of the green. That's what I'm looking for there. And I look at it and think, okay, if I've got the skills, why wouldn't I take the shot on? That's the important thing. So little hybrid. If we can get this up towards the front edge, it's just going to increase probably 20% greater chance that I'm going to get it down in 2 from there. Okay, yeah, that should just be short of the green. Around about 20 yards short, I would think. Yeah. Okay, so other option, and this is the key thing. I'm not saying there's only one way to do it. I think that's really important. So I'm just going to play a really smooth 7-iron up there and put it in that 60-yard bracket. So the other one's just 10 yards short of the green. Brilliant. But on this occasion, can I move it up there? Yeah, and that should put me in that 50, 60-yard bracket. And what we learned on the previous hole where I got into that position, I played a nice pitch shot on. I gave myself a chance. I didn't quite take it, but I still got down in my score. So you can see how we're managing our game from these distances. Let's go and have a look at the 2 shots, what we've got. We'll play the shot. Probably we're going to be more often in position, which is where I left the second shot, and see what we've got. But we'll look at both results, so you can get an idea of where we are and give you some data to say how that may increase the chance you may get down in 4. So we've come up to the fairway, we've got this ball here. This was the one where I laid it up a little bit shorter, okay, and let's just take a reading. We want to be around about that 50 to 60 yard mark, and we're bang in the middle, 57, okay. So really happy with that, and that's just maintaining what we've done. And if we look back at what we said, 60 yards down in 3, doing the job, okay. So again, what we've got here, ground's quite firm. There's a little bit of a ridge there. Some people will probably fly this up over the ridge, but I've played 2 really nice 8-iron shots on the last 2 holes, so why would I change the shot? If I can look at this, I've just got to land it probably a little bit further to go up that ridge, but the running shot's working really, really well. Okay, just to give you an idea, I'm only going to play this one out to finish the hole because this is the sort of the way I want you to look at it. The other ball's about 10, 15 yards short of the green. By advancing that a little bit further up the hole, I've probably increased the chance by about 20%. I might get down in 2 from that position than here. This is I'm going to get down in 3. That would be what I'd call a 2.8 shot. So I've given myself a little bit more opportunity. I might play this hole in 4. But you can see still on both occasions, I'm pretty much 80 to 100% chance I'm going to still make a 5 on this hole. But remember, mentally, that's how we're playing this hole. So you can see if that felt like a risk going up there, this might be the better option. Leave it here. Inside 20 feet would be lovely. 20 feet's our number. But again, you're always looking to play the best possible shot. So a little bit off the back foot, narrow stance, 8-iron. Go pretty much straight at it. Don't think it's going to do a lot going up this hole. Okay, that was nice and firm. And again, because I got the feel of the one on the last hole, I've probably put that about 12, 15 feet away. So a little bit better than average, but you can see how simple we're keeping it. I've just gone fairway wood off the tee. I've just taken a mid-iron to put it here. And then I've just taken a chip and run with an 8-iron. And we've got an outside chance, probably about 10% chance now I might get out of here with a 4. But it's still 90% chance of 5. And remember, this is our par 5 hole. So I've got to the green, and what we've created now, hopefully as you're watching this hole, we're playing really pressure-free golf. We're just playing simple shots, not trying to do anything spectacular, just keep it in play. Let's see where we ended up. We're about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paces from the hole, so around about that 12 to 15 feet. And what we're thinking about there, now, as long as you don't sort of forget how to play golf, this should be just a nice, easy tap-in bogey, our par 5 on this hole, okay, because we're playing it as a par 5. So it's important to understand what you're looking to achieve. Take the pressure off. There's no pressure on holding this putt. If you do, it's a bonus. But let's read it like my green reading method. So if you've watched my video on green reading, if not, go and watch it. We find the low point. We think about where would the water run. I think the water would run down here. So this would be a straight uphill putt. If I think of a clock face, I'm at 6 o'clock. 3 o'clock would be over there. So my ball's sitting around about 4 o'clock. And we'll come to that in a second why that's important. We said it was 5 paces. And this slope is a little bit more than average. Average slope is about what we call a 2% slope. So it's 5 paces. I'm going to call it a 3% slope. So we're talking now, times the 2 together, we get 15. That's the maximum break. That's what it would be at 3 o'clock. I'm putting from 4 o'clock, which is going to break approximately about 3/4 of that. Okay, so again, if you go to my green reading video, at the end of it, there's a chart showing you this, so you can see how it breaks down. So 3/4 of 15, we're looking around about 11 inches of break. Okay, now, because of the way I'm coming into the hole, I'm probably going to come in more towards the top side of the hole. So about 1 inch from the right edge. So I now need to take 1 inch off that 11. So I need to aim 10 inches outside. Okay, and that sounds a little bit complicated, but once you get into it, you'll realize you can just walk onto the green, walk up to the hole and back, and you'll work this all out very, very quickly. So a golf hole is approximately 4 inches across. So I'm going to aim about 2.5 holes out to the right. And with all that information, again, the other thing that's important to understand, if I'm putting from 4 o'clock, it must be a slightly uphill putt because I'm below, if you think of a clock face, okay, you think 6 o'clock's down here, 12's there. I'm putting sort of from 4 o'clock, which must be below that. So I must be putting fractionally uphill. So again, just a tiny little bit more speed on it. Right, got all that information. 2 putts is good. Let's see if we can hold it, gain a little bit. Oh, I don't think I've hit it. Oh, Read it perfectly. That didn't even need to turn half a turn. But look, there we go. Nice tap in. And there's our 5. That's what the goal was when we stood on the tee. So you can see I've created a very pressure-free way of playing that hole. As a 14 handicap golfer, that particular hole is a stroke index 3. I should be making a bogey. Okay, we've just shown you how simply you can do that. So there are 3 distances. 50 to 60 yards is your average shot you've got to get down in 3. 240 to get down in 4. Around about 390, 400, you've got to get down in 5. If you're doing that, you'll start breaking 90 regularly. I hope you've enjoyed that video. It's a slightly different look of how to sort of manage your game and what you need to do to play to that level. If you have enjoyed it, please share it with your friends. Subscribe to my channel, press that little bell for the notifications because I send out videos every Tuesday and Friday, and I look forward to seeing you soon.